We have done till 2A. Okay, we have to start with which one? 2B. Before we start with 2B, I made a small mistake, a conceptual reading error. Actually, we are issuing which one? Debentures also in consideration. That will be how much? 10,000 debentures are given. So investment account debtor will be 5,80,000. Please make a change. If you have copied the notes, please make a change. It will be like 5,80,000 and the debentures will come X limited plus purchase consideration paid. For purchase consideration paid and the investment allot panna debentures, new debentures and the 10,000 allotted also will come. So this will become 70,000. This is the correct treatment. Please correct your answer if you have taken up. Otherwise, you can check the answer in the material itself. They have given separate balance sheet earlier. PPE, this 1,80,000. Investment 1 lakh plus 5,80,000, 6,80,000. Current assets 6,60,000 minus 30,000 and 20,000. We get 2,80,000. Already answer is given in the material itself. Liability side, equity share capital 4,60,000 plus consideration given 1 lakh, 5,60,000. Other equity 3,50,000 plus securities premium minus transaction cost, it will be how much? 4 lakhs. Answer is given. Then debentures, already X Limited is having some debentures plus the new debentures given 70,000 of trade payables only X Limited. Contingent consideration payable by the company 60,000. You can just go through also. You can just go through. This is for case 2A. Now read illustration 2B. I request you to read illustration 2B. In problem number 2A, investment of B Limited carried at how much? 1 lakh. Valued under which one? Equity method with a share of post acquisition profit from associate how much? 15,000. Wait, this is for 2B. Just a small change. Just a small change. Investment in balance sheet. Investment in balance sheet. What is the value of investment in balance sheet given? 1 lakh னு சொல்லிருக்காங்க. That includes share of profit from which one? Associate. How much profit is included? 15,000 included. Then what would have been the cost of investment? Cost of investment would have been 85,000. We just do a reverse working. Cost of investment would have been how much? 85,000. We invested 85,000. We added share of profit from associate 15,000. Investment in balance sheet is shown at how much? 1 lakh னு சொல்லிருக்காங்க. Look at the base question. Look at the base question. They have given investments earlier. This 1 lakh. They are telling this investment includes which one? Share of profit from which one? Associates to the extent of 15,000, which means what would have been the cost of investment? 85,000 இருக்கும். Wait பண்ணுங்க. So when you prepare a separate balance sheet, okay, what will be the thing? Equity share capital of X will be equity share capital of X will be how much? 4 lakh. Don't copy this. Solution is there in your material itself. Don't copy this. Other equity எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 3,70,000 will include this income. This 15,000 share of profit from associate. Without that எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 3,55,000 இருக்கும். Then debentures how much it would have been? Debentures how much it would have been? 60,000 இருக்கும். Debentures would have been how much? 60,000. Creditors amount how much? 50,000 would have been there. This is a separate balance sheet. of which one? Separate balance sheet of which one? X Limited. Wait. Asset side, what will be there? PPE, how much? 1,80,000. Then investments at cost. Investments at cost. What is the cost of investment? We worked out now. 85,000. And the 1 lakh includes share of profit from associate. Okay, investment at cost 85,000. What is the next one? Current assets. What is the current asset? 6 lakhs. Current assets 6,60,000. So what is the total? What is the total? 9,25,000. This is separate balance sheet without including the associate. This is a separate balance sheet without including which one? Associate. How much? 9,25,000. This answer will be there. The answers are comparable. They would have given PPE, separate balance sheet. PPE how much? 1,80,000. Right? Investment recorded at cost and how much? 85,000. Investment recorded at cost 85,000. Investment recorded at cost how much? 1 minute. There is a small error in the system. Investment recorded at cost how much? 85,000. Current assets 6 lakhs 60,000. Then liability side, like creditors how much? 50,000. 12% debentures 60,000. 12% debentures 60,000. Other equity without including that share of profit from associate how much? 3,55,000. Equity share capital how much? 4,60,000 will be there. 4,60,000 will be there. This is a separate balance sheet of which one? X Limited. Separate balance sheet of which one? X Limited. That is the answer that is given. No need to copy. Already answer is there in your material. Any doubt in it? What we are doing? Simple. Investment in the balance sheet 1 lakh. Main question number 2. That includes share of profit from which one? Associate to the extent of 15,000. What is the cost of investment? 85,000. So the investment is recorded at cost. Investment is recorded at what? Cost. And that other equity eliminate that 15,000 because share of profit from associate would have been included in what? Other equity. Now wait for another. Now what was the previously held interest? What is the previously held interest? Eவ்வளவு percent we are holding already? Already we are holding 20%. 20%. Already we are holding 20%. Investment is carried based on equity method and profit or loss should be adjusted in which account? P&L account. Same like 2A Mardan. Last class, whatever we have done, the same thing is applicable. Same thing is applicable. Now what I request is, I request you to go through 2A once again. 2A once again, the problem once again, then we will solve. It will come. Pure investment, separate balance sheet. 2B we'll do next. That's what we are going to do next. 2A basic problem. I request you to go through the basic problem. What is the goodwill that we worked out? 2A workings will continue. What is the goodwill that we worked out? 1,16,000 that we worked out. What is the NCI we worked out? 1,10,000. Those values will continue. Goodwill will continue here also 1,16,000. NCI will continue at what? 1,10,000. This is for consolidated balance sheet. This is for which one? Consolidated balance sheet. Now, what I request is, I request you to remind in your notebook 2A answer that we can clear. You've taken 2A answer, right? So let us prepare consolidated balance sheet with subsidiary company. Consolidated balance sheet with which one? Subsidiary company prepare panna. What will be the equity share capital? 2A would answer paranga. 4 lakhs plus equity share issued for consideration 1 lakh. Total எவ்வளவு வரும்? 5 lakhs will come. 2A would answer paranga. Consolidated balance sheet. Same consideration now. Here also same consideration only. What was the balance sheet? We prepared earlier. Consolidated balance sheet. Sorry. 4 lakh 60 plus 1 lakh. Adida varum. 4 lakh 60 plus 1 lakh. 4 lakh 60,000 plus 1 lakh. It will be how much? 5 lakh 60,000. 5 lakh 60,000. Then other equity. Don't take it from there. இப்போ other equity ஓட வேல்யூ பாருங்க, இங்க ரிவைஸ் பண்ணிருக்கோம். What is the value of other equity? 3,55,000. Don't copy the answer. Answer is there in your material. You can verify it later. 3,55,000 இருக்கும். Then apart from that, securities premium எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? Securities premium 2A ல பாருங்க. How much we have done? Consolidated balance sheet. 50,000 and the 10,000 shares of I each. 50,000 less transaction cost. Transaction cost less பண்ணிருப்போம். எவ்வளவு less பண்ணிருப்போம்? 20,000 we would have reduced. So how much will be the net balance? How much will be the net balance? 3,55,000 plus 50,000 minus 20,000 pota. What is the net value? Fair value change again. Is there a fair value change? And the 1,10,000 measure பண்ணிருக்கோம். What is a fair value change recorded? What is a fair value change recorded? 10,000. What will be the thing? What will be the thing? What is the total? 3,55,000 plus 50,000 minus transaction cost 20,000. Fair value change to 10,000. What is the total? 3,95,000. 3,95,000. Next. What is the next one? NCI. We worked out. What is NCI we worked out? Fair value. 1,10,000 NCI oda value irukku. Where irukku? 12% debentures parunga. 12% debentures 60,000 plus 10,000 issued. Evlo irukum? 70,000. That is same. What is the next one? Liability trade payable. Okay. Trade payable. Trade payable. Evlo irukkunga? 50,000 plus 36,000. Evlo irukum? 86,000. Trade payable. Then contingent consideration. What is the contingent consideration became payable? 60,000. Okay. This is for your liability side. Asset side enna varum? Asset side enna varum? Plant, property, equipment same as before. Consolidation le 1,80,000 plus 3 lakhs. 1,80,000 plus 3 lakhs or 4,80,000. 4,80,000. Then goodwill that we worked out. What is the goodwill that we worked out? 1,16,000, that will be the same. Current assets, same working. What current assets? Current assets, same workings. Why there is a difference of 15,000? Other equity, how 4,10,000 will? Material 4,10,000 கொடுத்துருக்கு, அதுக்காக நம்ம சேஞ்ச் பண்ணக்கூடாது இல்லையா? அந்த டிஃபரன்ஸ் தான் ஓகே. பட் why we are not getting like this? வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. What is the cost of investment? 85,000. வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. 2B க்கு we have to make a small change. Cost of அந்த 20% investment எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? 85,000. What is the fair value of that 20% investment given in the question? 1,10,000. So now what is the fair value change? Fair value change is how much? 25,000. It is not 10,000. Fair value change is how much? 25,000. Make a correction in your material also. The material they have taken this as 10,000, but the fair value change is by how much? 25,000. That is the only difference between the previous case 2A and 2B. Please make a change in your material. The working for separate balance sheet போட்டிருக்கான் இல்லையா? Working for separate balance sheet ல the fair value change is not 10,000. Fair value change is how much? This is how much? 25,000. From 85,000 we are changing 25,000. Only then this 4,10,000 will come. Only then this 4,10,000 will come. So what is the difference between 2A case and 2B case? Investment includes which one? Share of profit from associate. We eliminate and we take how much? 85,000. Fair value is 1,10,000. The fair value change is how much? 25,000. That is the only difference. Everything else is same. Everything else is the same. Wait பண்ணுங்க. This is consolidated balance sheet with which company? Subsidiary company. Consolidated balance sheet with subsidiary company. Now what I request is pay attention for 2 minutes. In separate balance sheet, what difference it will make? In separate balance sheet, இதுல என்ன difference இருக்கும்? 2A க்கு 2B க்கு என்ன difference இருக்கும்? The difference will be, this will be the same. Capital plus consideration will be what? Same. Reserves and surplus away, 3,70,000 minus and the 15,000 எடுத்துப்போம். We'll take only what? 3,55,000. 3,55,000 we'll take. Asset side, on the 20% previously held investment will be how much? 85,000. This will be the difference. That's it. All the others are same. Everything is same as case A. Only difference. Any difference? Reserves and surplus change. Investment value change. This is for which one? Case B. Case A ko separate balance sheet prepare பண்ணிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? இந்த balance sheet க்கும் case B ல இருக்கிற balance sheet க்கு என்ன difference இருக்கும்? What difference it will make? What difference it will make? Reserves and surplus ஆவே 3,70,000 minus 15,000, 3,55,000. மத்த எல்லாமே same. All the others are same. On that investment, excluding that income, 85,000 வரும். They would have given the same working pattern. PPE 1,80,000. Then investment, how much? 6,65,000 they have taken. Current assets after eliminating the transaction cost and consideration, 2,80,000. Then equity share capital is same, 5,60,000. Then reserves and surplus, including securities premium minus transaction cost, and the 3,85,000 வரும். 3,85,000 will come. This 3,85,000 separate balance sheet. Debentures, old plus new debt, 70,000 will come, and liability for contingent consideration will come. Trade payable, only X Limited will come. Only difference is that 15,000. Only difference is which one? That 15,000. Okay. So, what is the mistake you corrected? What is the mistake you corrected in the material? Other equity, the fair value changes how much? Fair value changes how much? 25,000. That's then only then this 4,10,000 will come. Go to 2C now. Please go to 2C. In problem number 2A, investment in B Limited carried at rupees 1 lakh, which is valued as per which method? Equity method, which includes share of post acquisition profit 16,000, share of post acquisition OCA எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 8,000 கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Show separate balance sheet கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Show separate balance sheet. Pay attention. 2C. Listen. What is the investment value in the balance sheet? Investment value in the balance sheet எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? This 1 lakh. This 1 lakh. It was accounted as per equity method of accounting. It is given. It is like subsequent recognition mari. We would have added which one? Share of post acquisition profit. What is the share of post acquisition profit from associate? 16,000. We would have added share of post acquisition other comprehensive income. What is the share of post acquisition other comprehensive income? 8,000. Then what would have been the cost of investment? Then what would have been the cost of investment? எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 1 lakh includes this 8,000 and what? 16,000. Now, what would have been the cost of investment? 76,000 would have been the cost of investment. அதாங்க கொடுத்திருப்பாங்க. 1 lakh minus 16,000 minus 8,000. What is the cost of the investment? 76,000 கொடுத்திருப்பாங்க. Wait பண்ணுங்க. Separate financial statement. Separate financial statement without including associate. Without including which one? Associate accounting would have been. What difference it will make in this? Equity share capital of X will be the same. Other equity will be 3,70,000 minus 16,000 minus 8,000. Why? Why minus 16,000 minus 8,000? This share of profit would have been included in which one? Reserves and surplus. OCA would have been included in what? Reserves and surplus. So, இது போடும்போது என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? போடுங்க சொல்லுங்க எவ்வளவு வரும்? 3,70,000 minus 16,000 minus 8,000. How much would have been? 3,46,000. Investment would have been recorded at cost. Investment would have been recorded at cost. So the value would be 9,16,000. This is for separate balance sheet. Very simple. 2B, what we eliminated? Investment in balance sheet. Share of profit eliminate panna. What do we get? Cost of investment. And the share of profit is eliminated in other equity. And of course, investment is recorded at what? Cost. Inge, what is the difference? We have got share of profit as well as what? OCI. Eliminate both so that you will get which one? Cost of investment. Where share of profit is included? Where share of profit is included? Other equity, eliminate pannunga. OCI also is included in what? Reserves and surplus, eliminated so that you get what? 3,46,000. Investment is recorded at what? Cost. Investment is recorded at cost. Next, consolidated balance sheet with subsidiary, enna change varum? Consolidated balance sheet with subsidiary, what change will it be? What is the cost of 20% investment? What is the cost of 20% investment? 76,000. What is the cost of 20% investment? 76,000. Okay, 76,000. Now fair value of the 20% investment is how much? 1,10,000. Now what is the fair value change? What is the fair value change? 34,000. So the fair value change, the 34,000 will be recorded here. So the change of asset side, what change it will make? Asset side, what change it will make? Other equity. Just now we worked out 3,46,000 we worked out. That's it. Very simple. Case 1, there is no profit from associate included. Case 2, profit is only included. Case 3, included. Profit as well as what? OCA is included. So eliminate share of OCA, share of post acquisition profit. You will get which one? Cost of investment. Separate balance sheet. Separate balance sheet. Investment will be recorded at what price? Cost price. Other equity includes the share of profit and OCA. Eliminated so that you will go to consolidated balance sheet. The same like case 2A. Enna difference inga? Other equity change pannirukka. Evlo change pannirukkinga? 3,46,000. Securities premium same like 2A. Transaction cost also same like 2A. Fair value changed from 76,000 to 1,10,000. 34,000 change. Total is how much? 12,96,000. Total is how much? 12,96,000. Goodwill already we worked out. Case 2A work out padadhe. Refer to A. Goodwill evlo work out pannirkeenga? 1,16,000. Current assets working also same like 2A. This is consolidated balance sheet. They separate balance sheet prepare panna varum. Separate balance sheet prepare panna varum. Separate balance sheet what impact it will make? Reserves and surplus will be 3,70,000 minus enna eliminate pannum. Minus 8,000 minus 16,000. Minus 8,000 minus what? 16,000. Eliminate panna. Reserves and surplus away will come. What is the reserves and surplus away? Already work out panna. 3,46,000. Asset side, the 20% investment we purchased for how much? 76,000. And the difference out. That's it. Answer is same. 11,16,000. Check pannunga answer. 11,16,000. 11,16,000 will be the answer. Okay. Like this, I request you to go through 2D also. I request you to go through which one? 2D also. You can go through later. Later. I'll share the working. Now, this one is given as next set, advanced set na kuduthirupanga. After, okay, go through this. Company P Limited acquired how much? 80% of shares on 1/4/2022, 1/4/2020. It's a typical examination question. By issuing equity shares of 10 each at a premium of what? 30 kuduthirukanga. 80% we acquired by issuing what? Equity shares. Actually, inga date error irukku. Actually, 31st March 2020, 31st March 2021 எடுத்துக்கலாம். They have given plant property equipment investment paranga. Who made the investment? P Limited made the investment. P Limited made the investment on what date? 1/4/2020 invest பண்ணிருக்கான்னு அர்த்தம். This is 31/3/2020. 31/3/2020. This is 31st March 2021. Rupees in lakhs. Rupees is given in lakhs. Rupees is given in lakhs. Go through the full question, then we'll solve. It's a simple problem now. Go through that, then we'll solve. They ask you to prepare both consolidated and separate balance sheet 2 times. 31/3/2020 கேட்டிருக்காங்க as well as what? 31/3/2021 கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Both are asked. At the beginning of the year as well as what? At the end of the year. They've asked show consolidated and which one? Separate balance sheet கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Shall we? What is the investment made, பாருங்க? Investment in AS. எவ்வளவு invest பண்ணிருக்கீங்க? 640. This is how much? 80%. 80%. So, what is the first one? Consideration. Step 1. Do you remember consolidation steps? Step 1 என்ன பண்ணும்? Consideration paid and proportion of shares. Consideration paid and which one? Proportion of shares. What is the consideration paid? 640 lakhs divided by ஒரு ஷேரோட how many shares are allotted னு பார்க்கணும் இல்லையா? How many shares we have to allot? Face value is what? 10 at a premium of 30 கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. அப்போ how many shares are allotted? 640 by 40 போட்ட எவ்வளவு shares? 60 lakhs shares are okay. 16 lakhs shares are issued to get what control? 80% control. So proportion is very simple. Proportion is 80% with us and what? 20% with NCI. This is step 1. You can take it along with me, that's better. Step 1. Step 2. Fair value of net assets on the acquisition date. What is the fair value of net assets on the acquisition date? Net assets of subsidiary company. Net assets of subsidiary company on the acquisition date. How to work out this? We can work out assets minus liability. Plant, property and equipment எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? Subsidiary company on the acquisition date. On the acquisition date, 700. Then what is the next one? Current assets, any revalued amount given? No. Book value எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? 300. Then non-current liability 310. Then current liability 200. Current liability 200. Any other thing? This will give us fair value of net assets. Step 3. NCI can be valued based on fair value method. Super simple. For 80%, how much is the consideration paid? 640 na. For 20%, how much? multiply 640 divided by 80 into 20. How much? 160 lakhs. NCA is measured at which value? Fair value. That is step 3. Then what is the next one? Cost of control. What is the consideration paid? 640 lakhs. Then NCA at fair value 160 less net assets. Net assets are 490 na. We get which one? Goodwill 510. Goodwill 310. Wait, they ask you to prepare the immediate balance sheet. Balance sheet immediately. They ask you to prepare which one? Balance sheet immediately. Balance sheet of which company? Holding company. Who's the holding company? What is the name of the holding company? P Limited. As on what date? 31st March 2020. We can have a separate balance sheet, consolidated balance sheet. Wait, Pananga, we have not taken revenue profit here because we are preparing the balance sheet at the beginning of the year. Maybe this is on 1/4/2020, Mari, not 31/3/2020. 1/4/2020. This is on the rate of acquisition of shares. Okay. What will be the equity share capital? What will be the equity share capital? Holding company எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. Holding company எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. 500 இருக்கா? 500 இருக்கு. Plus face value of shares issued 16 into 10. 16 into 10. 500 plus 16 into 10. How much? Consolidated also 660. Other equity. Other equity. Other equity. What is other equity? Oh, equity in டோட்டலாவே கொடுத்திருக்கானா? அப்ப other equity ல அந்த securities premium போட்டுக்கலாம். Securities premium எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 16 into 30. 16 into 30. How much? 480 in both the cases. Then what is the next one? NCA will come only in which column? Consolidated balance sheet column. What is the NCA value? 160 lakhs. Then non-current liability. Separate balance sheet only the holding companies item will come. How much? 350. Here both will come. 350 plus 310. 6. 6. 10. 350 plus 310. Consolidated. Current liability. Separate balance sheet only H will come. Only P. எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 320. Consolidated 320 plus 200. How much will come? 520. That's it. This is a liability side. Asset side பாருங்க. Asset side PPE only P will come. What is PP of P? 720. Consolidated போடும்போது 720 plus 700. How much? 1420. Then what is the next one? Goodwill arises only in consolidation 310. Goodwill arises only in consolidation 310. Investment will come. Investment in what? Yes, will come only in which balance sheet? Separate balance sheet. How much we invested? 640. That will come only in what? Separate balance sheet. Then what is the next one? Current assets or non-current assets? Current assets. Here only P will come. How much? 450. Inge 450 plus 450 plus 300 in 7. More simple. Separate balance sheet now without including which one? Separate balance sheet means without including which one? Subsidiary. Okay. Consolidated balance sheet that we do as usual. That's it. Investment will appear only in which balance sheet? Separate balance sheet. The goodwill or gain on bargain purchase that we worked out in step 4. See, journal entry கேட்டானா examல ரொம்ப simple. How to work out journal entry? Separate balance sheet ரொம்ப simple. Investment account data 640 to equity share capital securities premium over. Consolidated balance sheet journal entry கேட்டானா plant property equipment account data, don't copy this, just for your reference. PPE account data, subsidiary company or எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க 700. Then current assets account data, current assets account எவ்வளவுங்க? What is the current asset value? 300. Goodwill account data, goodwill account data எவ்வளவு recognize பண்ணிருக்கோம்? 310 recognized. To non-current liability. What is a non-current liability? What is a non-current liability? 310. To current liability, how much? 200. To which one? Consideration. Consideration how much? 640. To NCI, what is NCI? 160. NCI is measured at fair value 160. This entry also will tally. The entry also will tally because goodwill is the balancing for here. Goodwill is the balancing for here. Journal entry கேட்டனா போட்டலாம். How the consideration is paid? How the consideration is paid? Consideration account data to share capital to securities premium. Consideration account data to share capital to which account? Securities premium. Please remember all these consolidations we did at the beginning of the year or end of the year. We did at the beginning of the year, end of the year. Beginning of the year. This is on 1/4/2020. This is on what date? 1/4/2020. Maybe next entry, maybe like what is the consideration? capital value, premium, please remember this is at the beginning of the year. This is at what? Beginning of the year, end of the year? Beginning of the year. Now, end of the year, we have to work out. Can you work out and find out what is the post acquisition profit? Step 4 oda stop pannirkom. We have to work out which one? Step number 5. Try to work out step number 5 part. What was the fair value of net assets at the beginning of the year? What was the fair value of net assets at the beginning of the year? 419. Let us work out fair value of net assets at the end of the year. That is as on 31st March 2021. பாருங்களேன். What is given at the end of the year? Tell me, selling company, subsidiary company oda fair value of net assets எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 560, 360 minus 320 and 240. சொல்லுங்க எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? PPE how much? PPE how much? 560. Then current assets, current non-current liability, current liability. What is the fair value of net assets at the end of the year? எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 360 கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Fair value of net assets at the end of the year 360. Anything is missed out? Because they have given some other wrong working. We'll check that also. 360. holding company இல்ல subsidiary company ஓட தான். Fair value of which company? Yes limited. Solutionல செக் பண்ணுங்க, something ஏதாவது error இருக்கான்னு பாத்துக்கலாம். Evaluation loss reverted. Okay, wait, let us see. $300 to wait பண்ணுங்க. There's a mistake. One minute. Let me check பண்ணுங்க. At the beginning of the year பாருங்க. At the beginning of the year, what is the non-current liability? 300 to what? 310 இருக்கு. Current liability 230 to what? 200 இருக்கு. So current assets 350 to 300 is there. Let me check. Listen. What is the opening balance of other equity of subsidiary company? What is the opening balance of other equity of subsidiary company given? What is the opening balance of other equity? 300. This includes capital and reserves and surplus. இதுல check பண்ணுங்களேன். Current assets from 350 it is 300 less reduction in current assets value. It will affect your profit. எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 50. Then non-current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. Non-current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 300 to 310 இருக்கு இல்லையா? 300 to 310 இருக்கு. So increase or reduced? Less increase in which one? Non-current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? 10 இருக்கு. Then current liability எவ்வளவு சேஞ்ச் ஆயிருக்கு? Add back. Decrease in which one? Current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 30. So what is the net opening balance? இதுல எவ்வளவு சேஞ்ச் இருக்கு? இல்ல வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. Opening balance of equity. Of course, only current assets and current liability will change. So what is the net impact? Net opening balance of equity after fair value adjustment, how much? 280. Closing balance of equity given? 360. Difference எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? Difference 80. அதான் the difference. Okay, so difference is 80. This will be taken as post acquisition what? Profit. This will be shared by what? Holding and NCA. This will be shared by holding and NCA. எவ்வளவு percentage? How much? 80% என்ன வரும்? 64. NCI 20%, 16. Take up this. Because non-current assets and current liability will not affect your P&L account. It will not affect your P&L account. Non-current assets and non-current liabilities will not impact your profit or loss. Shall we? Next, we have to prepare the balance sheet of which one? P Limited as on what date? 31st March 2021. Adale separate balance sheet and consolidated balance sheet. Wait பண்ணுங்க. What was the PP? புரியல. அது நம்ம அதுலயே டைரக்டா பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட்ல போட்டுக்கலாம். What will be the equity share capital? Equity share capital அதே தான் இருக்கும். Opening balance தான் closing balance. How much? Equity share capital opening balance will be equal to what? Closing balance all இருக்கும். 660. Consolidated also what? 660 தான் வரும். What is the next one? Reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus. What was the reserves and surplus? What is the reserves and surplus? Equity எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்கான் பாரு. ஓ செப்பரேட்டா சரி ஓகே கம்பைண்டாவே போட்டுக்கிறேன். Equity includes reserves and surplus னு போடும்போது equity this is nothing but capital plus reserves. Capital plus reserves. தனியா கொடுக்கறனால நம்ம சேர்ந்து கொண்டு போட்டுக்கலாம். Separate balance sheet ல only what will come? Separate balance sheet ல only what will come? 1240 will come. Consolidated balance sheet ல that 1240 plus share of post acquisition profit will come. Because that is included in reserves and surplus. Share of post acquisition profit is included in which one? Reserves and surplus. Then what is the next one? What is the next one? NCI value. Separate balance sheet la varadu. Consolidated balance sheet la varum. What was the initial recognition of NCI? What was the initial recognition of NCI? 160 plus share of post acquisition profit எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 16. 160 plus 16 எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 176 வரும். NCI value இருக்கும். Then non-current liability பாருங்களேன். Non-current liability given on 31st March 21 எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? Holding and subsidiary company எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க non-current liability. At the end of the year எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? Separate balance sheet ல only what will come? 320 will come. Consolidated balance sheet ல என்ன வரும்? 320 plus subsidiary company 310 plus opening balance change பண்ணிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? That will have an impact on the closing balance. Opening balance we revalued by 10. Opening balance we revalued by 10. பாருங்க opening balance of non-current liability எவ்வளவு இருந்துச்சுங்க? Opening balance of non-current liability. What was the opening balance of non-current liability? What is the opening balance of non-current liability? 300. It is taken at 310. So what is the extra value we have taken? 10. That will impact the closing balance also. Revaluation from the opening 10. Then current liability. Current liability. What is the current liability in separate balance sheet? Current liability in separate balance sheet 380. Adula consolidated balance sheet la 380 plus 240. Don't add revaluation. Why? Already adjusted. 320 plus 320 plus 310 minus 10. This is 380 plus 240. Why are we not adjusting revaluation for current liability? Because it's already adjusted with reserves and surplus. It is already adjusted with reserves and surplus. Any other thing? Then plant property equipment solunga. What is a plant property equipment? Separate balance sheet la only S will come. What is only S? 800. For consolidated balance sheet, what is the balance sheet figures? 800 plus 560 plus அந்த revaluation பாருங்க, opening balance எவ்வளவு revaluate பண்ணிருக்கோம். From 480 to 700 revalue பண்ணிருக்கோம். 480 to 700 revalue பண்ணிருக்கோம். எவ்வளவு வரும்? Extra 220. So this will be 800 plus 560 plus 220, 1580 வரும். Plant property equipment. Next, investment will come. Investment in subsidiary company only in separate balance sheet will come. How much we invested? 640 will come. Then goodwill step 4 la போடுறது அதுக்கு அப்படியே கன்டினியூ ஆகும். How much we have done? Consolidated balance sheet la how much? 310. That will continue. Then what is the next one? Current assets. Current assets பாருங்க. Current assets how much? 500. இது கன்சாலிடேட்டட்ல போடும்போது 500 plus 360. 500 plus 360, how much it will be? 860. Sir, why are you doing without our regular thing? Because they have asked for both separate and consolidated balance sheet, both at the beginning of the year as well as what? End of the year. You mistake பண்ணிருக்கோம். Yes, please. $320 plus $650. This is balance sheet of P Limited at the end of the year. Separate and which one? Consolidated. Every year the revaluation will have an impact. That will be added with asset value. Because on the fair value of net assets at the beginning of the year, this has been already adjusted on the month. Shall we? Next, you can try from illustration 2 onwards. We have not done a question based on dividend. We have not done a question based on which one? Dividend. Come to illustration 13. We'll come to the other illustrations. I request you to come to illustration 13. Last 3-4 pages of the handout. Illustration 13. It's a very good question. D Limited acquired 60% of shares in which company? G Limited on what date? 1st October 2020 acquire பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Middle of the year acquire பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Retained earnings balance of G at the beginning of the year is how much? 6,000. Look at this. Next one, that is most important. என்ன கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? Last page, last 2-3 pages. Okay. G Limited declared a dividend for the last year. Okay. Dude, G Limited declared dividend for the current year. Accounted in the books of G, but not accounted in the books of what? D. It is accounted in the books of G means the company declaring the dividend as accounted, but not in the books of D. Abstracts from the balance sheet of D and G is given to us. They ask you to prepare which one? Consolidated balance sheet at the end of the year. Wait. Shall we? What is the date of acquisition? Date of acquisition. When did we acquire? 1st October 2020. What is the amount paid for shares? What is the consideration paid? 24,000. Consideration is 24,000 for getting how much control? 60% control. So proportion 60% is to 40%. Next, this is step 1. Step 2, we want which one? Fair value of net assets on 1st October 2020. Okay, which company's assets? G's. We have PPE or value கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, current assets value is given. Then we are given which one? Current liability or value கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, total liability and equity கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. So we can do assets minus liabilities method. This is at the end of the year. This is at the end of the year. We cannot do. Okay. So what was the share capital of subsidiary company on 1/4/2020? If nothing is given, we can take what is the opening balance? The 25,000 abdi eduthukalam. 25,000 we can take it. Then other equity. Other equity means reserves and surplus. At the beginning of the year. What is the beginning at the beginning of the year? For G. For G, it is given. At the beginning of the year was how much? 5,000. Retained earnings at the beginning of the year was how much? 5,000. We would add net profit up to what date? 1/10/2020. Net profit up to what? 1/10/2020. Wait பண்ணுங்க. There are two methods of working. One is ledger method la போடலாம். Otherwise we can do statement method. We can prepare retained earnings account. Retained earnings account. Or you can do closing balance minus opening balance also. What is the retained earnings? at the end of the year, 11,000 retained earnings at the end of the year. This is after paying dividend. After paying dividend, add back dividend. Dividend has been already adjusted. Dividend has been already adjusted. எவ்வளவு dividend பண்ணிருக்காங்க? Okay, 6,000. What would have been the retained earnings before dividend? Sir, எதுக்கு சார் ஆட் பண்றீங்கன்னா it has been already adjusted by G. It has been already recorded by G. So this is your retained earnings before what? Dividend. What is the retained earnings at the beginning of the year? 5,000. So which means profit earned during the year. What is the profit earned during the year? 12,000. Profit earned during the year, 12,000. In this 12,000 of profit, net profit, this includes dividend. This includes which one? Dividend. Okay. What is the thing? 12,000 into 6 by 12. 6,000. So this will give us what this will give us? Fair value of net assets on 1/1/2020, 1/10/20. Take it up, then we'll proceed. I request you to take it up in our method. I request you to take it up. Shall we? What is next step? NCI measured at fair value. Simple. For 60% control, எவ்வளவு பே பண்ணிருக்கீங்க? 24,000. For 40%, how much? How much? This is NCA value. Step 4. This is initial value, okay? NCA or initial value. Step 4. What is step 4? Consideration paid. What is the consideration paid? 24,000. Add NCA value. What is NCA value? 16,000 less fair value of net assets. What is the fair value of net assets? 36,000 will give us goodwill. Goodwill எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 4,000. Goodwill 4,000. Step number 6 or 5. What is step number 5? Post acquisition profit. What is the post acquisition profit? On the after 1/10/2010. 1/10/2010 or 20 or 20. That is 12,000 into the 6 by 12. This will be shared by holding company 60%, 3,600, and NCA how much? 40%, 2,400. What is the next step? NCI for balance sheet. NCI for balance sheet. What is the initial recognition? How much? 16,000. Add share of post acquisition profit. How much? This will be the NCI for balance sheet. Wait, some adjustments should be made. I'll make the adjustment in the balance sheet, not here. Some adjustment should be made for dividend. I'll make that adjustment in the balance sheet, not here. Next, what is the next step? Reserves and surplus for balance sheet. What is the reserves and surplus of holding company? Other equity of holding company எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 25,000. Retained earnings 25,000 given. Add holding companies share of which one? Post acquisition profit. Holding company share of post acquisition profit எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? So take it up. Please take it up. Then we have to prepare the consolidated balance sheet. Shall we start? Consolidated balance sheet. First, I will do the mistake, then I will correct it. Wait. What is the equity share capital? Only the holding company will come. What is the holding company's equity share capital? B. These equity shares, how much? 50,000. Then other equity. Other equity is nothing but the step 6 level, the step number 7 level, other equity. How much? 28,600. Then NCI, I'm making a mistake. I'll correct the mistake later. Step 6 and over the NCI. 18,400. 18,400. Then what else will come? Non-current liabilities. Any non-current liabilities? No. But we have got current liabilities. Current liabilities are which one? D plus G. D plus D. Current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க 39,000 இருக்கு. Okay, asset side la plant property equipment D plus G. Plant property equipment 60 plus 30 என்ன இருக்கும் 90,000 வரும். Goodwill in consolidation 4,000 will come. Goodwill will come 4,000. அப்புறம் current assets. Current assets எவ்வளவுங்க 36,000. அலியாதா ఏంటి అలియాలి check anything that we missed out. Check anything that we missed out. Think பண்ணுங்க. Okay. Other equity, what is the dividend payable? What is the dividend payable? 6,000. I just put it in post acquisition profit is worked out based on that only. Think பண்ணுங்க. Think பண்ணுங்க. This 18,400 இருக்கு இல்லையா? This profit includes which one? Dividend. Profit is include which one? Dividend. Let me to make a small adjustment. Pay attention. NCI for balance sheet will not be 18,400. This includes dividend payable to NCI. Okay. What is the dividend payable to NCI? Dividend payable to NCI. 6,000 level of percentage. 6,000 40% we have to pay to NCI. That will be shown under current liability. That will be shown under what? Current liability separately. 6,000 into eவ்வளவு percentage? 40% payable to them. So 18,400 minus 2,400 will be the NCI for balance sheet. Wait பண்ணுங்க. இப்போ current liability working separate பண்றேன். Current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க current liability? Current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? D plus G. D plus G எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 39,000. This includes dividend payable. Current liabilities include what? Dividend payable. What is the total dividend declared by the company? 6,000 is the total dividend declared by the company. So, net current liability எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? 33,000 இருக்கும். Add dividend payable to NCI. Dividend payable to NCI. Wait பண்ணுங்க. What is the dividend payable to NCI? 2,400. So what will be the net impact? 33,000 plus 2,400 and இருக்கும் 35,400. 35,400. Otherwise, wait பண்ணுங்க. What is the current liability given in the balance sheet? 39,000. What is the current liability we are reporting? 35,400 we are reporting. If you look at, listen. What is the difference? Balance sheet க்கு நம்ம consolidated balance sheet இருக்கிற current liability என்ன difference? எவ்வளவு amount? 39,000 current liability கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. But we are going to show only 35,400 as current liability. What is the difference? 3,600 is nothing but what is the total dividend payable? 6,000. How much belongs to holding company? That's mutual due mari cancel ஆயிடும். Instead of doing this much, what you can do is current liability given how much? 39,000 less mutual dividend. எவ்வளவு percentage? 6,000 less 60%. என்ன இருக்கும்? 3,400. So balance will come 3,600. 3,600. Balance எவ்வளவு வரும்? 35,400 will come. This way also you can work out and show. NCA value includes the dividend payable to them. NCA value includes what? Dividend payable to them. Eliminate and show separately. Or the other way of thinking is current liability is 39,000. Mutual dividend 60,000 less 6%. Remaining is what? 35,400. This includes dividend payable to NCA. This includes dividend payable to NCA. Shall we? I do not know whether you remember chain holding, but if you don't remember also no problem. I'll start and explain from the beginning and do it. That is which question? Question number 12. Question number 12 is chain holding problem. We'll do that. Please remember, total dividend is eliminated and NCA dividend is shown in liability side. If you look at indirectly, mutual dividends are eliminated. Indirectly, what is getting eliminated? Mutual dividend is getting eliminated. So dividend payable to outsiders are shown in the consolidated balance sheet. Now read question number 12. Completely read question number 12, then we will solve step by step. Who are the companies? Question number 12. Who are the companies in question number 12? PQR. Read the question, please. Look at this. Prepare a consolidated balance sheet of the group as on 31st March 2021. கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Investment in Q எவ்வளவு percentage? 80%. Investment in R by Q is how much? 75%. So simple. P. Okay. Go to question number 12. P holds how much? எவ்வளவு percent of Q? P holds how much percentage of Q? 80% of Q. And Q holds 75% of R. இப்போ P in Q 80%. So proportion will be 80%, 20%. Wait பண்ணுங்க. P in R 80% into 75%. என்ன வரும்? 60% வரும். So proportion is 60% indirect control, 40% NCA control. Clear? P in R தான் பார்க்கணும், not Q in R. P holds in Q direct 80%. R holds, Q holds how much? Q holds how much? 75% of R. அப்போ P in R என்ன control இருக்கும்? 75% of 80% will be how much? 60% now. So proportion will be like 60%, 40%. Proportion will be like 60% and what? 40%. Otherwise, ரொம்ப சிம்பிள்ங்க. P in Q எவ்வளவு percentage? 80%. It is direct. அடுத்தது Q in R. Q in R எவ்வளவு percentage hold பண்றாங்க? 75% hold பண்றாங்க. அப்போ P in R எவ்வளவு hold பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா 75% of that 80%. Otherwise, you can say 80% of that 75%, 60% hold பண்றோம். Proportion is 60%, 40%. Take up this. Otherwise, parent control on subsidiary companies, how much percentage? Parent control on subsidiary companies, how much percentage? 75% into 80%. That is 60%. And please remember, shares are acquired on what date? When the shares are acquired? 1/10/2020. Middle of the year acquire பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Middle of the year acquire பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Now read the other things also full. P and Q, எவ்வளவு consideration? Q now P Limited should consolidate the balance sheet of both Q as well as what? R. Yes, 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 yes. Q is a direct subsidiary, R is a sub-subsidiary, so all the balance sheet should be prepared together. This is step one, Panto. All the shares are acquired on 1/1/2000, 1/10/2020. What is step two? What is step two? Fair value of which one? Net assets we want as on what date? 1/10/2020 we want. For which company? Q and which one? Or we need. How to find out? Assets minus liability போடலாம், share capital plus reserves போடலாம். But to do share capital plus reserves because shares are acquired at the middle of the year. Try பண்ணுங்க பார்க்கலாம். Share capital at the beginning of the year 1/4/2020 Q and R share capital எவ்வளவு இருக்கு பாருங்க. What is the share capital at the beginning of the year? எதுவுமே கொடுக்கலன்னா opening balance is equal to closing balance. 500 and what? 300. Then what is the next one? Other equity on 1/4/2020 opening balance. Other equity எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 150 adjustmentல கொடுத்திருக்கோம். On 1/4/2020 the balance of other equity is how much? 100 and which one? 50. 150. Next, revaluation. பாருங்க கொடுத்திருக்கோம் பாருங்க. Fair value of the plant and machinery is in excess of carrying amount by what? 50 and 30 கொடுத்திருக்கோம். What is the meaning? Fair value is 50 more and what? 30 more. That is upward revaluation. Fair value is more னு சொல்றான். Book value விட fair value extra இருக்குன்னு சொல்றான். What is extra? 50 and 10. Directly they have given how much more? 50 and 10. 50 and 30. 50 and 30. Wait, it is not sufficient. Add net profit up to the rate of purchase. Up to 1/10/2020. Net profit up to 1/10/2020 எப்படி work out பண்ணுது? Simple, we have to see the closing balance minus opening balance. For Q and R, what is the closing balance? Closing balance of other equity 160 and 100. Add dividend declared. மறந்துடாதீங்க, separate line item balance sheet லேயே கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Dividend payable is given separately. For which one? 50. Dividend payable 50. So what is the total including dividend? Total including dividend. Please remember this 160 is after eliminating the dividend. Add the dividend payable, you will get total including the dividend. How much? 210 and what? 100. 120 then. Less opening balance. Balance of reserves and surplus. What is opening balance of reserves and surplus கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? எவ்வளவு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க? 150. This will give us net profit for the year. Net profit for the year including dividend. What is the net profit? 110 and what? 70. In this, net profit up to 110 2010, 110 2020 will be 110 into 6 by 12. 110 into 6 by 12, 55. The other one, 70 into 6 by 12. Any preliminary expense, etc. given? That's careful. Preliminary expenses are minus one. This will give us fair value of net assets on what date? 1/10/20. Any doubt in it? Opening balance of capital, opening balance of other equity, upward revaluation, because it's given fair value of the asset is 50 more and 30 more is given. Net profit for the first 6 months, it will give us fair value of net assets. Fair value which one? Net assets on 1/10/2020. Any doubt in it? அடுத்ததா ரொம்ப ரொம்ப important step. We have to measure which one? NCI. NCI clear கொடுத்திருக்கா. NCI is measured at fair value. NCI is measured at what value? Fair value clear கொடுத்துட்டோம். பாருங்க. NCI is measured at what value? Fair value. How to work out? We have got NCI in Q. We have to value NCI in what? Or we need to value. 5 minutes. NCI in Q, NCI in R, we have to value. How to value? Simple. 80% வந்து 480 னா அது போட்டுருவீங்க. 80% க்கு 480 னா 20% க்கு எவ்வளோ? How much cross multiply பண்ணா? This is the NCI in Q. How much? 120. How to work out NCI in R? 75% க்கு எவ்வளவு பே பண்ணிருக்காங்க? 300. 75% க்கு 300 னா immediate next என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? 25% க்கு எவ்வளவுன்னு போடுவோம். No. Our control is 60%. In direct and indirect NCI control is what? 40% க்கு எவ்வளோ? புரியுதுங்களா? 75% க்கு அவன் 300 பே பண்ணிருக்கான். From the point of view of the parent company, what is our proportion? 60%. NCI proportion is what? 40%. So 300 into 40 by 75. Hello, 160. Take it up. Shall we? What is the next step? Try பண்ணுங்க. What is the next step? Cost of control. Try பண்ணுங்க பா. Cost of control for Q and which one? R. What is the consideration paid? $480. வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. ஆர்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா எவ்வளவு இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணிருக்கோம்? இன் ஆர் எவ்வளவு பர்சன்டேஜ் பண்ணிருக்கோம்? 70. Okay. In our investment is how much? Investment is 300. இதுல வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. இந்த இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் இருக்கு இல்லையா, இதுல NCI's share of Q in R. NCI share of Q in R எவ்வளவு இருக்கும்? அதான் தேவையில்லை, டைரக்டாவே போட்டுடலாம். எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? R எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 300. அப்படியே எடுத்து add which one? NCI value. What is NCI value? What is NCI value? 120 and which one? 160. 120 and 160 less net assets. What is the net assets? 705 415. Cancer will slightly change. It will give us goodwill. Goodwill or gain on bargain purchase? Gain on bargain purchase. ஏதோ 20% எலிமினேட் எல்லாம் போட்டிருக்கோம். What is the gain on bargain purchase? 105. இங்க என்ன வருது? So net gain on bargain purchase, how much? 105 minus 45 என்ன இருக்கும்? 60. Then NCA for consolidated balance sheet. NCA for consolidated balance sheet. Q and which one? R. What is initial recognition? At fair value. What is initial recognition at fair value? 120, 160. Add a share of post acquisition profit. Share of post acquisition profit. What is the post acquisition profit out of share? In Q, 110 into 6 by 12 into the level percentage. Q level percentage share. 20% share. 110 into 6 by 12 into 20%. In R எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 70 into 6 by 12 into எவ்வளவு percentage share? 40%. Direct and indirect control 40%. Dividend payable அதா இருக்குங்களா? Any dividend payable? Any dividend payable? Okay, அதுல less NCI's share of dividend. எவ்வளவு dividend share இருக்கும்? 50ல in Q இருக்கு பாருங்க. 50ல எவ்வளவு percentage இருக்கும்? 20%, because that will be eliminated and the net amount only will be shown. This will be shown as a current liability அந்த மாதிரி. So net NCI for balance sheet. What is NCI for balance sheet? 121, 121 and what? 121 and 174. This is the balance sheet NCI. Post acquisition profit is pre-acquisition, the 6 by 12, 55 and 35 are post-acquisition profit, the 6 by 12, remaining 6 months. Next, step number 7 or 6 or whatever, reserves and surplus for consolidated balance sheet. What is the reserves and surplus of P? What is the reserves and surplus of P given? Balance sheet like கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. What is the reserves? 4. Add share of post acquisition profit from P or from Q. எவ்வளவு share பண்ணுவோம்? What is the share of post acquisition profit from Q? And the 110 into 6 by 12 போட்டிருக்கோமே 55 into எவ்வளவு percentage? 80%. Then from R 70 into 6 by 12 அதான் 35 into 8 into 60%. 11, don't forget less stock reserve. Stock sale பண்ணிருக்காங்க between the companies sale பண்ணிருக்காங்க 16 lakhs purchase from R at cost plus what 33 1 by 3 கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. So it is a chain holding, we have to eliminate total stock reserve from here. 16 lakhs into 1/3 on cost, it will be what 1/4 on sales. 16 lakhs into 1 by 4 and over 4 lakhs. So net reserves and surplus will come. This is for the reserves and surplus. And we should include the gain on bargain purchase also. What is the gain on bargain purchase? 60 net value. 581. Shall we? இது வரைக்கும் எடுத்துறீங்களா? Over. Pay attention. I'll give you sufficient time to copy. Please pay attention. We have to prepare which one? Consolidated balance sheet. Pay attention. Equity share capital. Equity share capital எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? Only P's equity share capital you have to take. What is the equity share capital of P? 600. Then reserves and surplus. This 581. NCI value we worked out. NCI value we worked out how much? 121 plus 174. NCI value will come. Workings we have done. What is the next liability given? What is the next liability given? Current liability like trade payable பாருங்களேன். Trade payable of P plus Q plus R. P plus Q plus R எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 500 plus 250 plus 200 என்ன இருக்கு? 950 less mutual due. Mutual due கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Adjustmentல பாருங்க. Bills receivable of R includes 30,000 from P and P includes 40 from what? Q. So what is the mutual bill? 30 plus 40. How much you have to eliminate? 30 plus 40. Any mutual due should be eliminated. Then what else will come? Oh, bills payable வேற இருக்கா? Sorry. Trade payable. Okay. So please add bills payable also. Trade payable, bills payable include பண்ணிக்கங்க. Bills payable also. Creditors and bills payable also. 100 plus 90 plus 70. That also please include it. How much? 950 plus 260. 1000 minus 70 will give us 1140. 1140. Then dividend payable to that NCA component and the 20% component will come as a liability. How much? 10. Wait, நிறைய revaluation எல்லாம் இருக்கு plant and machinery ல. Plant, property and equipment, holding and subsidiary company. What is the plant, property, equipment? 400 plus 500 plus 320. எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? 400 plus 500 plus 320 plus fair value change ரெண்டு பண்ணிருக்கோம். Adjustmentல கொடுத்திருக்கோம். Fair value change 50 and 30. Yeah, increase இல்லையா? அதானே பண்ணும். Then what is the next one? Plant, property, equipment போட்டாச்சு. What is the next one? Investments will not come. Current assets. Inventory. P plus Q plus R. Tell me the total. P plus Q plus R. 250 plus 80 plus 60. எவ்வளவு வருதுங்க? How much? 390 less stock reserve. What is the stock reserve? 4. So 386 will come. Then what is the next one? Trade receivable. Debtors plus bills receivable of all the company add பண்ணுங்க. P plus Q plus R. How much? Debtors as well as bills receivable less mutual due. This net amount. Then what is the next one? Cash and cash equivalents. P plus Q plus R. What is the cash and cash equivalents of P plus Q plus R? Add up. Thanks. Copy it. Go to question number 11. Dora, copy பண்ணிட்டீங்களா? Is it over? Go to question number 11, please. Read this. On 1/4/2020, what is given? BB Limited acquired 90% of shares of CM Limited is given at rupees 10 lakhs. When the fair value of net assets was how much? 10 lakhs கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. On first, during 1/4/2020 to 31st March, there is a total comprehensive income of how much? 2 lakhs கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. On the date, BM sold 50% of holding to outsiders for 2,20,000. Past journal entries for the sale of partial holding. Read the question. Read the question. Read the question. Wait பண்ணுங்க. See, pay attention. Holding company, listen, holding company acquiring additional shares. Listen, pay attention, pay attention. We are holding 60%. We are acquiring additional 20%. அப்படி என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? What is the entry you will pass? When you are purchasing additional shares, what will happen? NCI will come down. NCI account data, it will be recognized at what value? Fair value or net assets method, or which method? Net assets method la recognize பண்ணுவோம். We are going to pay cash to cash or which account? Bank account. The amount paid will be recorded. Listen, and the difference will be recognized in what? To other equity in recognize பண்ணிப்போம். Balancing figure, it may be a gain or loss. We will adjust in what? Other equity and the மாதிரி. Other equity will be the balancing figure. Please remember, this is sale or additional acquisition. Additional acquisition. For example, the holding company is selling the holding என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? If the holding company is reducing the control, for example, from 90%, we sold 10%. It becomes 80% அந்த மாதிரி. என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? NCI will increase. NCI will increase. So to NCI account போட்டுப்போம். It will be recognized at what value? Fair value. And we'll get the cash. When you sell the shares, we'll get what? Cash or bank account data, amount realized. The difference will go to which one? Other equity. It may be a debit or it may be which one? Credit. The balancing figure will be adjusted in other equity. The balancing figure will be adjusted in other equity. So reduction in control, NCI value will go up. Now apply this concept and pass the journal entry. What is the net assets at the beginning of the year? 10 lakh. 10 lakh. During the year, they made a comprehensive income of 2 lakhs கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. 2 lakhs கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. 15% of the holding is sale பண்ண போறோம். 15% of the holding sale பண்ண போறோம். So this is illustration. Okay. What was the net assets at the beginning? 10 lakhs. Total comprehensive income. Total comprehensive income for the year 2 lakhs. So net assets on the date of sale. எவ்வளவு இருக்குங்க? 12 lakhs. How much percentage controlling interest is sold? So share of net assets, that is 15% of 12 lakhs. 1,80,000. So when you pass a journal entry, what is the entry you will pass? Cash or bank account debtor. We sold it for how much? 2,20,000. 2,20,000. NCI is recognized based on net assets. Based on net assets. The 15% net assets. Balancing for will go to what? Other equity. Journal entry for cash or bank account debtor to NCA to which one? Other equity. Take up this. This is the correct answer. Ignore the alternative answer. Next, come to illustration 10. After this, please come to illustration 10. Why are you crediting NCI? Why are you crediting NCI? NCI value will what? Go up. Cash or bank account debtor, we get the money. Balance goes to what? Other equity. Go to illustration 10 next. P Limited acquired 60% of shares on 1/10/2010. Okay, 1/10/2020. At rupees how much? 30,000 கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Q Limited made a profit of 20,000 during the 2021 and declared a dividend of what? 9,000. NCA is valued based on fair value and net assets. Net assets. And please remember, balance sheet appeal, dividend from subsidiary is not accounted so far. It is not accounted so far. Individual balance sheet of P and S is given to us. Individual balance sheet of P and S is given to us. Dividend payable இங்க ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க, but it's not recorded in the books of P. They ask you to prepare which one? Consolidated balance sheet. Before that, what is missing compared to the other question is, normal என்ன கொடுத்திருப்பாங்க, the opening balance of reserves and surplus would have been given. Opening balance of reserves and surplus of Q is missing. Okay, add net profit for the year less dividend payable will give us closing balance of which one? Reserves and surplus. This is available. This is available. What is the closing balance of reserves and surplus? The other equity, 15,000. What is the net profit made by for the year? On the top of the problem, 20,000. What is the dividend declared? 9,000. as a balancing power we can get reverse work பண்ணுங்க, you will get it. Reverse work பண்ணுங்க. What is the balancing power? 4,000. Normally this used to be given, but it's not given here. We worked out. Next, step one. Step one. What is step one? Consideration paid. What is the consideration paid to purchase? Consideration paid to purchase 30,000. 30,000. And how much control is acquired? 60% control. So proportion 60% is to 40%. 60% is to what? 40%. Next, fair value of net assets on the acquisition of shares. When the shares are acquired, so we know share capital of S on 1/4/2020. What is the share capital of S on 1/4/2020? No change, so we can take the same 25,000. Reserves and surplus 4,000. Then add net profit up to the date of purchase 1/10/2020. And the 20,000 including dividend into what? 6/12. 10,000 or take it up. What is the fair value of net assets? Check for any preliminary expenses in this question. Check for any preliminary expense in this question. No. Step 3, NCA should be calculated at what value? Net assets, based on proportion in net assets given in the question. So 39,000 into எவ்வளவு percentage? 40%. 39,000 into 40%. How much you get?